All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanan, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Timothy Bradley gives some advice to Errol Spence Jr. about how to win the fight against Terrence Crawford. And you got to tell you, man, he's trying to be a slick one. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanan, and in this video, let's talk about the 147-pound division where Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford will be fighting for the undisputed championship of the world this July 29th in a fight that is extremely highly anticipated, a one where the outcome is anything but certain. Errol Spence Jr. may win the fight. Terrence Crawford may win the fight. Truth be told, there's a lot of opinions about it, strong opinions on both sides, but that's what makes it an excellent fight. Because at the end of the day, it really is going to boil down to what those guys do in the ring on that evening. I can say that I believe that Errol Spence Jr. will most likely win the fight. You may say that Terrence Crawford will most likely win the fight. But at the end of the day, both of these guys really do carry enough weapons and enough skill to get the job done, depending on how they play their cards. So, in that vein, Tim Bradley of ESPN, former 140 and I do believe former 147-pound world champion, had something to say about how he thinks Errol Spence Jr. should play his cards to beat Terrence Crawford. And I again have to tell you, man, you got some audacity. But before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button. If you don't like the video, don't. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't like the video, hit the thumbs down button. And thank you to everybody that is a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel. It does help the channel immensely. So thank you guys very much. And again, thank you to everybody that sponsors videos like this in the super thanks. But before we get into that, I just want to tell you real fast about today's sponsor, the Boxing Showtime app. It's a very useful app that keeps you updated on all things boxing, and you can keep up with the latest fights, where to watch them, the latest news, and a lot more. For any hardcore boxing fan like myself, and most likely all of y'all, I would definitely recommend downloading it. And it also is most definitely a big support to the channel. It's available for both Apple and Android, and you can find the link in the description below. Thanks for considering downloading Boxing Showtime's app. But let's get back into the subject matter of the video. Tim Bradley's advice to Errol Spence Jr. was the following: don't be you. Fight differently than you've ever fought before. Specifically, he says that Errol Spence Jr. is known for his high output. And if throwing, as you know, Errol Spence Jr. will throw as many as 1,000 punches in a fight. He will throw 70, 80, 85 punches around. He is somebody that keeps the spacing, it keeps spacing and stays right in front of the fighter that he is fighting, or should I say, tries to keep that fighter that he's fighting right there at a place where he can hit him, go to the inside, wear him down, tire him down, stop him, break him down over the course of the fight. It's a well-known tactic for Errol. Tim Bradley is out here trying to tell Errol Spence what he needs to do against Terrence Crawford is don't do that. Because if you do that and it doesn't work, you're going to lose the fight. So this is what he tells him he should do. You should decrease your output Look for spots to hit Terrence Crawford when they're open, but don't overcommit to punches. Don't overcommit and do not become too active in the fight. In essence, and this is me paraphrasing what he said, he is trying to tell Errol Spence Jr. to fight the exact fight that people have been unsuccessful fighting Terrence Crawford with for years. Slow down. Don't let your hands go against Terrence Crawford, who is a sniper, who, if you give him openings or you do not engage him and give him a lot of time to think, he is going to try to find holes in your game. And more importantly, while you're doing that, you won't be winning rounds because you will be inactive, which is very interesting because that is exactly what that is exactly what Tim Bradley has said in other interviews, that Errol Spence Jr. has a very high output. And if Terrence Crawford can't match that output or doesn't find a way to slow that output down, then Terrence Crawford is going to have a very, very hard time winning that fight if he can't get a knockout. So now Tim Bradley is out there advising Errol Spence Jr. to not do what he said would cause the most problem for Terrence Crawford. I have to tell you, man, that a friend indeed is a friend in need is a friend indeed for sure when it comes to Terrence Crawford and Tim Bradley. Man, if you don't stop. First and foremost, Errol Spence Jr. is not going to, for a second, go for that okie doke and limit his output against a 35, 36-year-old fighter and give him time to think, to rest, to calculate what he's doing, all the while allowing him to potentially steal rounds by just at the end of the round or in the middle of the round, just being a slight bit more active than Errol Spence Jr. is. Errol Spence Jr. would be ridiculous to get out of character and try to become something that, although I have to tell you, he does have the ability to box on the outside. He did that with Mikey Garcia. However, when he boxed Mikey Garcia from the outside, his punch output was actually higher than it was when he fights people on the inside. That's the fight where he got off 1,000 punches over 12 rounds. He was constantly throwing punches. He was just constantly throwing punches at range and staying out of range and preventing Mikey Garcia from getting any counter shots off. But he still never decreased his output. On what planet and for what reason should Errol Spence Jr. reduce his output? That's just sabotage. That's just a sabotage type of advice right there. But what else is to be expected from somebody like Tim Bradley that has shown the entire time that he will say outlandish things about the fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford? So why shouldn't we expect for him to try little subtle things like just flat out giving the man bad advice when he said that when he himself said he sees Vegas favoring the aggressor, and how before, years past, people used to respect Mayweather's defense, but now he sees Vegas giving the fight to the more aggressive person with the more high output, the higher output. So why in the world, if Vegas favors that, why would you tell Errol Spence Jr. not to do that? Man, come on, man. Nah, I don't think it's going to. I think it's safe to say that that's not going to work, though, and that Errol's going to go out there and do what he has to do. At the end of the day, though, like I said, and I'm going to continue to say, look, I have Errol Spence Jr. winning that fight because I think Errol's a more fundamentally sound fighter. He's the more active fighter, in the ring, the more active fighter. But there are things that Terrence Crawford can do in a ring that a lot of other people cannot do. So it's going to be a test for Errol Spence Jr. in that regard. And there's a likelihood that Terrence Crawford can pull out the win. That's what makes it a good fight. However, telling people to do things that are just patently ridiculous on their face, nah, man, nice try. Try again next time. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.